Neon bleeds in the rain. Signals hum like blood. On Eidolon Nexus, truth is a product, and products get optimized. The static dividend.
Archive Loop, Tier 9. As the stretch of the Concordium's records spine that smells like old regulations and new ozone. Down here, the walls don't sweat, they condense policy. You can taste it in the air, red tape shimmering like heat off a desert you'll never visit. My name is Mera Jalen. Conduit clerk, badge grey, 9 years punched and filed. I don't swing a grav mole or run blacknets for a living. I process structural pauses. That's Concordium for please stop doing anything until the right signature looks at it. We use biometric imprints. One press, and a million lives hold their breath. Today, the breath caught wrong. Aurevia Dynamic pushed a Mindframe Accord patch through our Civic broadcast lattice at 9:07 local. It smelled harmless stability language, sentiment smoothing, compliance gloss. But the pulse metrics were off by a hair, 0.7 seconds of selective dead air around lower bastion protest feeds. Not a black screen, worse. A skip, just enough to break the rhythm that makes a clip go viral. The kind of absence that erases momentum, not memory. Corporate elegance, velvet noose, on Unity Day. I could have looped it, stamped it, walked it upstairs for a council-wise review. Or I could be what people call me when they forget I can hear them, a signal-fried clerk with a rubber stamp. I put my hand on the pad and didn't press. 2200 hours, Eidolon Nexus standard time. Archive loop runs skeleton crew, just me, Hesh. 2 partitions over fighting a hydration headache and the soft hum of servers digesting the day's paperwork. I batch stamp permit, renewals with my left hand while my right nurse's synth black gone cold. Mechanical, soothing, the rhythm of bureaucracy at rest. On the side monitor, a Civic broadcast plays. Unity Day prep coverage, all soft focus and approved optimism. The anchor's Novara lilt promises harmony across all sectors, while B-roll shows Lower Bastion Street cleanup crews painting over last month's protest slogans. Then the footage twitches. Not a glitch, smoother than that. A micro freeze, maybe half a second, right before riot shields meet the crowd at a transit checkpoint. The moment builds, tenses, and then skips. The impact never quite lands. The audio stays clean. The visual flow continues. But something got shaved. I rewind, frame by frame. There, in the metadata overlay, Gleam pipes to my lens, tag AUR Delta MF24, a subframe blip. Aurevia's fingerprint, buried in broadcast standard compliance tags where only clerks and obsessives look. Gleam, I murmur. Flag that timestamp. Pull the raw feed if we have mirror access. Pulling, she says, my little desk AI, who always sounds like she's filing her nails. Raw feed shows impact at timestamp 22:17:12. Broadcast feed skips 22:17:12 through 22:17:12.7. Clean edit. Professional. 0.7 seconds. The magic number. Long enough to break emotional resonance. Short enough to feel like compression, not censorship. I sit back. My chair creaks. Archive loop smells like old regulations and ozone. Tonight it smells like something else too. Plausible deniability. Hesh. I call over the partition. You seeing the Bastion feed? Yeah, no, he mumbles, stamping vendor renewals. Why? Nothing, I say, just tired. But I flag the timestamp. I archive the subframe code. I do what clerks do when they smell smoke. Document first, panic later. At 23:15, my slate pings, private channel, CID encryption. The kind that means a polite problem is about to become mine. A voice from Meridian branch introduces itself as Elian Toff and asks a simple question. Have I noticed anomaly codes on lower bastion feeds? He names the same tag I just logged and calls it a deviation from charter-approved processing windows. I tell him I saw a skip tonight, 0.7 shaved from a checkpoint clip. He sends a narrow telemetry key, LoopKey, with read-only permissions, and suggests a Civic contractor may be overstabilizing Unity Day programming. If I see patterns, I should log them. Quietly, I ask why me? Because I'm a clerk who reads metadata, he says. And because if this goes loud before there's proof, Aurevia buries it, and we spend 3 years in tribunal. Quiet is faster. What if I say no? Then he'll ask someone else. But I already flagged the timestamp, didn't I? The channel closes. My hand hovers over the LoopKey file. I know what happens to clerks who blow whistles. They get looped, transferred to some administrative nowhere, dismissed for performance concerns, or just forgotten. I light a red spiral ash fine, cheap, legal, tastes like burnt policy, and take a drag. The ember glows in the dim of my cubicle. Outside the window, the city sprawls in neon and rain, a million lives breathing filtered air and calling it oxygen. Yeah, no, I mutter. And I open LoopKey anyway, because I can't unsee the lag. LoopKey is elegant narrowband, read-only, designed to sit telemetry without leaving fingerprints. I plug it into my slate and let Glean do what she does best, find patterns in noise. Running correlation, she says. Cross-referencing AUR Delta MF24 tags with Lower Bastion Civic feeds over the past 10 days. I sip cold synth black and watch the graph populate. Each spike marks a subframe edit, 0.7 seconds shaved from broadcast footage. The spikes cluster around the same beats, crowd formation, raised voices, baton advance. Every time a moment threatens to become share-worthy, the mask bites. Activation bursts sync to crowd surge metrics, Gleam observes. The patch reads emotional escalation in real time and inserts a brief visual interruption to blunt virality, like the old 7-second broadcast delays weaponized for algorithmic suppression. It's brilliant in the way corporate harm often is, not a blackout, not overt censorship, just a rhythm kill. Change blindness at scale, interrupt the flow for under a second, and the brain smooths the gap, but the emotional punch never lands. The clip doesn't spread. The moment dies. How many edits total? I ask. 47 over 10 days. All lower bastion, all protest adjacent, all below the 1-second disclosure threshold. I graph the timing. The edits intensify as Unity Day approaches. Aurevia stress testing the harmonizer to make sure it works when it counts. 3 days to go. Glean, can you pull contractor records? Who deployed AUR Delta MF24? She pauses. That's above LoopKey permissions. Try anyway. A beat. Then got a shell. Aurevia Dynamic, Civic Media Services Division. Deployment authorization signed by Leora Ash, Director of Broadcast Harmony. I write the name on actual paper old habit, older paranoia. Leora Ash, Navarra elite, the kind of person who says interim assurances and makes censorship sound like public service. Hesh leans over the partition, eyes half-lidded. You look signal-fried. Just gardening, I say. Midnight? The weeds don't sleep. He grunts and disappears. I stare at the graph. 47 edits. 47 moments stolen. And Unity Day. The biggest civic broadcast of the year is 72 hours away. I ping Elian Toth. Found the pattern. What now? His reply is instant. Now you get confirmation. In person. Aurevia. Dynamic occupies floors 60 through 82 drapes that whisper, light, that costs extra. I arrive at 1000 the next morning, 2 days before Unity Day, in conduit Clark grey, badge polished, carrying a data slate and an attitude. The reception is human, with brand handler micro-expressions, scans my appointment code and smiles like I'm expected, but not wanted. Director Ash will see you in the Serenity Annex. 17th door on the left, the one that looks like calm. I follow the corridor. The air smells like engineered citrus and ambition. Surfaces reflect just enough to remind you you're being watched. Leora Ash waits in a room that's more garden than office. Biolam vines, moving water, chairs that cost more than my year's pay. She rises with Navarra poise and extends a hand that doesn't quite expect to be shaken. Conduit Clerk, Jalen, she says, courtesy over command. A pleasure. You have questions about our civic harmonization protocols. I take the seat she offers. It's too comfortable, hospitality masquerading as leverage. I've been reviewing lower bastion timing, I say, clerk, flat. Recurring subframe interruptions, AUR Delta, MF24 correlating with protest activity. I'm determining whether this is a fault or a feature. Her smile doesn't waver. Feature, absolutely. We call it a civic calm harmonizer. It smooths heightened content during sensitive coverage, preventing algorithmic amplification of distressing material that could escalate public anxiety. Smooth, I repeat, by cutting 0.7 seconds from the footage. By introducing brief stabilization windows, she corrects. We aren't removing content, we're optimizing presentation. The charter allows interim assurances during sectoral volatility. Interim assurances, I echo. Navarra for censorship. Her smile sharpens. Navarra for responsible media stewardship. Lower Bastion has a history of excitable coverage. We prevent harm. Surely you, as a civil servant, appreciate harm reduction? I appreciate transparency. Does the public know their feeds are being harmonized? The disclosure is in our civic partnership terms, subsection 12, clause 47. Publicly available, which means buried in 80 pages of legal sedative no one reads. I stand. Thank you for your time, Director Ash. Illuminating. I hope we've provided the assurances you need, she says, smooth as chloroform. Aurevia values collaboration with municipal oversight. If you have further concerns, we can schedule a protocol realignment session. Translation, shut up, or we'll realign your career. I leave with no fix, no concession. Just confirmation that Aurevia knows exactly what it's doing and is proud of it. Outside, the rain tastes like honesty. I ping Eliantov, she admitted it. Calls it harm reduction, legal veneer, corporate intent. His reply, good. Now we need proof that hurts. Can you break it? Can I break it? Can a clerk with a biometric stamp and a grudge crack? A billion credit harmonizer 2 days before Unity Day? I think of the 47 stolen moments. The kid on the rail in Lower Bastion, shouting into a camera that will shave his voice into background noise. I send, not alone. I meet Cade Rook in a noodle bar under the old viaducts, where the steam smells like pepper and the booths hum like forgetting. Cade is Hesh's friend's cousin's fixer, the kind who knows which cables to pull and which questions not to ask. 20-something Bastion rasp, eyes that light when you say latency exploit. You want to glass Aurevia? He grins. Glassing, Bastion slang for exposing someone so hard they have to see what they hid. On Unity Day, I want their harmonizer to show its work. Live. He leans back, fingers dancing on a palm rig only he can see. Okay, mindframe runs on Unity. Beacon timing. Broadcast, standard sync. If we introduce latency at the pad layer, force the system to choose between smoothing the feed or meeting legal windows. It overcorrects, I finish. Pushes raw to avoid a charter violation. Exactly, he laughs, delighted. We glass him at Parade Hour City sees raw. Beautiful. Budget? I'm a conduit clerk, so moral satisfaction and minor revenge, and a case of legal ashvine. Make it 2, and I'm in. Been wanting to crack Unity Beacon since I was 16. We shake. His hand is sticky with broth and conviction. One condition, I say. We don't touch emergency channels. We expose a lie. We don't endanger lives. Agreed, he says. I'm chaotic, not evil. I slide him a chip. LoopKey access, subframe maps, Aurevia's deployment windows. He slots it. His grin goes supernova. Oh, this is going to be fun. Back in Archive Loop, I do what I do best. I file forms. Not 1, not 10, hundreds. I craft the structural pause cascade like a virus written in legalese. Each form narrowly targeted, each one timed to collide with the others the instant the Unity Day marchers hit the Lower Bastion cross-sector junction. Form 27K, emergency structural pause for algorithmic safety review during public assembly coverage. Form 19C, broadcast clarity validation, requiring real-time source disclosure. Form 4 Delta, civic harm reduction audit, and mandating unfiltered primary feeds during declared transparency windows. I file them across overlapping jurisdictions: Myrrodine Branch, Glass and Court, Ethan Standards, even the dusty Civic Broadcast Oversight Panel that hasn't met in 3 years. Each form forces a pause in any automated intervention that might count as content alteration. I backdate some within legal windows. I forward date others to trigger on Unity Day at exactly 1400 local parade time. I write the cause texts in conduit clerk monotone, each one a small prayer disguised as bureaucracy. Gleam watches the cascade build. You're about to make the system choose between following the law and following orders. That's the idea, I say. And when Aurevia notices, they'll send the brand handlers. Let them. I file the last form at 0348 hours before Unity Day. 2 days to go. My hand shakes from synth black and adrenaline. The lattice hums, pregnant with contradictions. Hesh finds me still at my desk at 0600. He stares at the queue like it might explode. "You looped?" he asks, gentle. In conduit slang, looped means caught in recursion or just plain exhausted. Productively, I say. He sets a coffee bulb on my desk. Real coffee, the expensive kind. "Whatever you're doing, I hope it's worth the hangover." "It's worth something," I say. He squeezes my shoulder and goes back to his partition. Outside, the city wakes. Unity Day is just under 48 hours away. 2 days. They send Soren Hale. He arrives at Archive Loop at 1100 the next day, 24 hours before Unity Day, 1 day to go. His suit whispers when he walks. His smile makes lawyers nervous. Branded handler, elite tier, the kind Aurevia deploys when polite threats stop working. Conduit clerk Jalen, he says. Navara smooth with scythe, tacked edges. "May I borrow a moment?" We take a consult pod, soft walls, recycled air. He sits across from me and sets a slate on the table like a chess piece. Aurevia Dynamic has noticed an unusual volume of structural pause filings originating from your terminal, he says. 47 distinct forms across 9 oversight bodies, all scheduled to activate during Unity Day civic coverage. "I'm thorough," I say. "You're disruptive." The smile doesn't move. "We are prepared to offer you a consultancy handsome pay to review our harmonization protocols and suggest improvements. In return, you rescind the filings." "I'm not interested in consulting." Then we file a professional conduct review. Your supervisor is notified of potential abuse of procedural authority. Your filings are stayed pending investigation, and you spend 6 months explaining your intentions to people who are very patient and very thorough. That's a lot of effort to hide a 0.7-second edit. The smile finally cracks, just a sliver. The edit protects public well-being. The edit protects Aurevia's narrative. Narrative. He stands, smooth as oil. "Rescind the filings, Clerk Jalen, or we rescind you." He leaves the slate on the table. It glows with a pre-drafted rescission form waiting for my palm. I stare at it for a long breath. Then I drag it to my trash queue and watch it dissolve into ones and zeros. 10 minutes later, Hesh pings from the next partition. "You okay?" "I looped it," I say. "Liar. Productive liar." I keep filing. By 1800, 24 hours before Unity Day. I've added 12 more structural pauses, ghost linked to the original cascade. If Aurevia kills one, the others compensate. A braid of delays. Self-healing bureaucracy. Cade sends a final update. Beacon latency pads are in place, ready to blast them tomorrow. "You sure?" "No," I say. "Do it anyway." "My kind of clerk," he replies. I go home. I don't sleep. I watch rain paint the windows and count 47 stolen moments and one very long day ahead. Unity Day is 12 hours away. 1400 local. Unity Day parade. I'm not in Archive Loop. I'm in a cafe 3 blocks from the Harmony Spire, nursing synth black and watching feeds on every screen. Hesh sits across from me pretending to read a holosign, actually tracking the same feeds with the focus of a man who knows something is about to break. Inside Aurevia's broadcast core, I imagine it, because Cade's sniffer is feeding me telemetry. Leora Ash watches her flagship harmonizer do its careful work. The parade flows across 100 panels, marching bands, sky whales trailing banners, the High Sovereign waving from a platform that hovers on approved majesty. Then the parade hits the lower bastion cross-sector junction. The crowd thickens. Chants start, nothing violent, just loud, unauthorized enthusiasm, the kind that makes Aurevia nervous. Mindframe wakes. The engine reads crowd surge metrics, tags emotional escalation, and prepares to drop its 0.7-second visual interruption to keep this moment from spreading. And then my structural pause cascade lands. 47 filings across 9 jurisdictions, all demanding the same thing in slightly different legalese: pause automated content alteration during civic transparency windows. The system receives contradictory mandates, it tries to reconcile, it can't. Nodes flare across Leora's control board warnings, exceptions, failsafe triggers. She overrides 2. A third spawns, a fourth. The cascade is self-healing, each pause is braided to 3 others. Kill the automation, she orders. Can't, a tech says, voice thinned by panic. We're in legal compliance mode. If we override, we violate charter. If we don't, the pauses force us to. Push raw feed, Leora finishes, her voice gone cold. Faced with mutually exclusive orders, the system picks the option that can't be prosecuted, comply with everything by showing everything. The harmonizer drops. Every civic screen in Eidolon Nexus flickers once, a system clearing its throat, and then the raw floods through. Lower Bastion cross-sector junction, unfiltered. The crowd isn't a soft focus mass of civic participants. They're people, tired, angry, holding signs that read, "Mind your minders, and we're not data." Shields advance, batons connect, kettling begins. Audio pops from approved murmur to real, ragged voices that don't fit Novara cadence. One kid, maybe 19, spark drunk on cheap charge packs, climbs a rail and shouts into the nearest camera, "We're not background. We're not your B-roll. Look at us." The camera looks, the city looks. For the first time in 10 days, Lower Bastion breathes unedited air. In the cafe, every screen shows the same thing. Hesh's holosign is forgotten, patrons stand. Someone whispers, "Is this real?" "Yeah," I say quietly, "this is real." My slate pings. 2 messages, back to back. Cade, breathless. "We did it. We glassed them." Gleam, steady. Mindframe accord offline. Backup harmonizers are hitting the same legal knots. Raw feed holding. "You actually did it." I exhale. My hands shake. Synth black spills across the table. I don't care. On screen, the Sovereign Guard line actually pauses when they realize they're being broadcast without the usual protective blur. An officer looks straight into a lens, and you can see the thought arrive. The world is watching. Unfiltered. Inside Aurevia's core, Leora Ash makes 3 decisions in 5 seconds. First, containment. Lock down external feeds, draft a statement. Second, get me legal. Charter compliance review. I want every one of those structural pauses traced. Third, after her mask slips a centimeter, pivot to transparency messaging. We embraced the moment. We chose to air unfiltered civic dialogue. Make it sound like our idea. Her team moves. The brand machine spins up. Within 20 minutes, a statement hits every major channel. Aurevia Dynamic stands with transparency. Today's unfiltered coverage reflects our commitment to authentic civic dialogue. It's polished. It's infuriating. It's exactly what I expected. But the telemetry doesn't lie. CID is logging every second. The activation patterns, the attempted masks, the fail-safe override. A curt notice arrives from Eliane Toff. Oversight Circle has the full packet. Thank you. Cade starts selling latency kits to neighborhood streamers before the hour is out. Black market tools to check if your feed is being shaped. He's going to make a fortune. He's going to get arrested. He's going to do it anyway. And I sit in a cafe, watching the city watch itself, exhausted and shaking and smiling so hard my face hurts. Hesh reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. You looped them. Productively, I say, Jalen, you beautiful signal-fried bureaucrat. You actually looped them. Unity Day fireworks start early approved spectacle, scripted joy. Underneath, in comments and shares and whisper chains, something else spreads. The raw moment, the proof the city's been breathing filtered air, and what it feels like when the mask slips. Aurevia's pivot to transparency lasts exactly 72 hours before the telemetry buries it. Eliantar forwards the Oversight Circle's preliminary findings to every civic feed in the Concordium. The report is dense, technical, boring. Everything a scandal should be. It maps Mindframe's deployment windows, the 47 documented edits, the 0.7-second masks timed to blunt shareworthiness. It includes Lyra Ash's own memo, naming the system Selective Stability Harmonics, that pre-weighted riot footage for public benefit. The language is damning, pre-weighted, a confession wrapped in euphemism. Aurevia tries to spin. A second statement calls Mindframe an over-application of safety protocols that has since been recalibrated. They announce an independent review. They pledge credits to Lower Bastion community programs. None of it lands. The footage is out. The proof is public. The mirror flare effect, the dynamic where attempts to suppress a signal only amplify it as people rush to share what was hidden, does its slow, relentless work. By day 4, 3 Concordium Assembly members call for broadcast regulation reform. By day 5, Lyra Ash is on administrative leave. By day 7, Mindframe is officially sunset, replaced by a civic standard that requires disclosure of any content alteration above 0.1 seconds. It isn't perfect, it isn't enough, but it's something. I return to Archive Loop 7 days after Unity Day. My desk is exactly as I left it. Coffee ring on the slate, stack of forms waiting, Hesh's partition close enough to hear him breathe. A fresh stack thumps onto my tray. Routine. Boring. The everyday work of keeping the city's paperwork from collapsing into chaos. I pull out a sticky note, actual paper, yellow and defiant in a world of screens, and write 4 words in careful conduit script. Bureaucracy is a weapon. I tape it to my monitor, where I'll see it every morning. Hesh peers over the partition. New mantra? Old truth, I say. He grins. Heard Cade got raided. They confiscated 43 latency kits and fined him 6 months' salary. Heard he made 12 months' salary in 3 days. Heard he's already building better kits. We share a smile. The kind you share with someone who watched you do something stupid and dangerous and necessary. Outside the window, Unity Day fireworks flare one last time, a week-long celebration winding down. This time, the coverage is unfiltered. No masks, no harmonizers, just light and sound and the messy, honest truth of a city watching itself. I settle into my chair. It knows my shape. I place my palm on the biometric pad. This time I press Forms root. The lattice hums. Somewhere in the city, someone is trying to hide something. Somewhere else, a clerk is learning to file. And somewhere in the spaces between, the dividend compounds. Small victories, small truths, the slow accumulation of moments that refuse to be optimized. I, Mera Jalen, Conduit Clerk, Archive Loop, Eidolon Nexus, get back to work. The forms are waiting. The city is watching. And for once, just this once, it's watching back.
The static dividend. Unity Day. File closed.
This transmission has been approved by Aurevia Dynamic.